All right, 7th through 8th grade, welcome back. Our sniglet today is tonkative. It's an adjective this time, and it means when a kid makes up his own soundtrack to accompany the miniature cars he's playing with on the floor. So you know how maybe a little brother or sister can make those crash noises or the vroom sounds, and the sounds they can come up with really are amazing. And they're in their own little world, and the cars are careening out of control. Seems like it's a very dangerous place to be a miniature car. But I believe that the two words that comprise this sniglet are tonka, like a Tonka truck, and talkative, like, oh, isn't she talkative? So I imagine that's what they did there. I don't know if you'd have to come up with your own sniglet for little girls and their pretend dolls conversations, like a mommy and a daddy, or a mother and her baby, and they're over in the corner in their own world just playing away. So maybe you can come up with your own sniglet for that. Our Shakespeare quotation of today may not be one you've heard, but it will be. Once I make you aware, I think you'll start to see it more and more, especially as you get older. But the concept is definitely one worth talking about. The quotation reads, "I must be cruel only to be kind." The idea here is that sometimes the kindest thing to do is perceived by the person as cruel. It would be very much like a parent to a child having to say, no, you cannot eat candy all day long. Well, the child must think that is cruel, but that's a kind thing for a parent to do. Or maybe a teacher has to give some difficult feedback on a writing assignment, but it will benefit the writer more than if the teacher just said, oh yeah, that's good. So the idea behind this is that sometimes the things we have to do to help people are difficult. Now, in this context, that was not what was going on. But I must be cruel only to be kind. That is a phrase you will hear much as you get older. Proverbs 17:4 says, "An evildoer listens to wicked lips, and a liar gives ear to a mischievous tongue." I want you to notice the correlation between what the person listens to and what comes out of his mouth. Notice that the evildoer listens to wickedness. So he doesn't just speak wickedness, he listens to it. He doesn't just do wickedness, he listens to wickedness. And here, the person is a liar, and he listens to a mischievous tongue. He gives ear to a mischievous tongue. So a liar either intentionally or unintentionally listens, hears, seeks after mischievousness, and an evildoer wickedness. So just think about that in your own life. There is a correlation to what you listen to and what comes out of your mouth. So if you notice that what comes out of your mouth is not good, you should pursue better things to listen to, whether it's music or what what your friends say, or television. There's lots of ways that words can come into your brain through your ears. Whatever thing, though, that you feed your mind with is what will eventually come out. So, and it's probably, and the reverse is also true, what comes out of your mouth is probably what you're attracted to. So just think about that. All right, point of view. This is what we're going to talk about today. So last week I gave you an assignment to write the same paragraph from a positive and a negative standpoint. When we speak of point of view in writing, though, we're speaking of something a little bit differently. We're speaking very technically about the words that you use. So I know you've had this in grammar at some point, but you have heard at some point about your first person, second person, and third person pronouns. So when you speak from a first person point of view, you're going to be using first person pronouns like I, my, etc. I was going off the page there. When you speak from a third person point of view or an objective point of view, that's when you use pronouns like he, she, they, etc. Now we're going to review pronouns in a little bit, but that is something you should already know by now, but we'll do a little refresher. So in this assignment, well, let's look at the two sentences first. The first sentence says, I walked into the room, nervously scanning the room for my friend. So in this first sentence, I'm the main actor, but I'm also telling the story. So I'm using words like I, my, but I'm also sharing some information that only I would know because I tell you that I'm nervous. And I also tell you what my intent is. I haven't said anything. I've just walked into the room. Nobody else knows what my intent is, but I have shared it because I'm the writer. I'm telling you the story from my point of view. In the second sentence, let's read it together. She walked into the room, her hands clutching her purse and her eyes frantically scanning the room for something. Now the story's the same, but now I'm a bystander in the room. I'm no longer the main actor. And I'm telling the story still from my perspective, but my perspective as a bystander. And I'm telling the story about the main actor who's no longer me. So I'm using words from my third person pronoun list. She walked into the room. Her hands, her purse, her eyes. Also notice that I can't say for sure she's nervous because I don't know. I can't read inside her brain, but I can make some observations. So I make some observations about her hands clutching her purse and her eyes frantically scanning the room. I also don't know what she's looking for, so I can't share that information. So I'm going to say for something because I don't know that she's looking for her friend. So I'm going to give away a little bit of what our assignment next week is, but this week what I want you to do is we are going to write a personal experience paragraph or essay. I say or essay because if it cannot fit into a paragraph, you're allowed to use a few paragraphs if you need to. But this same personal experience is what we're going to share about next week from a third person. So you can even be thinking ahead. But I'm breaking it into 2 weeks because I really want this to be a good quality essay, paragraph or essay. And truly, either one is acceptable. So for your assignment, you're going to write a personal experience. That means it needs to be something that happened to you. Either you witnessed it or you are actually, let me put it this way. I want you to be the main actor. So it could be your first home run. It could be learning to ride a bike. It could be an embarrassing story or a sweet conversation, a meaningful event, something that's small enough, again, that you could write about. So be specific. Don't choose your time frame outside of probably 24 hours. Like don't talk about your month in your summer, and don't talk about your vacation to Florida, and don't talk about, it's way too big. Think smaller, like getting stung by a jellyfish, or that could still be something that happened on the beach on your vacation, but it's small enough you can write about in a paragraph. Or talk about, the last conversation you had with your grandmother before she passed. Or you can talk about, an embarrassing story, like forgetting what to say when you got called on in class. I don't know, but keep it small. Don't think big. Think small time frame, very specific, something that you can write about where you are the main actor. Then make sure you use first person pronouns, which we're going to review here in a second. Include details that only you would know, like thought processes, emotions, flashbacks, context, background, etc. So, and really, I think most of you will write this very naturally because a lot of us are used to telling these experiences. We probably do this every day. How did class go? Oh, Mom, you won't believe it. I sat down to class and then I realized I'd left all my homework at home. And so we're used to telling first person stories. But you just want to make sure this is written very tightly and concisely. Make sure, like your other headings, your other assignments, it has a heading, which is your name, date, and assignment. Make sure it includes a title, which is different from a heading. A title would be like, the day I forgot my homework. The assignment would be personal experience. And make sure it's typed in 12-point font unless otherwise instructed, and make sure it's turned in on time. So for a quick review of our pronouns, I'm just going to sing you my song, and you can learn it too if you want. I learned this song probably in the 5th grade, maybe earlier. So here is my pronoun song. Oh, I, you, it, he, she, we, you, they. Pronouns, pronouns. Oh, me, you, it, him, her, us, you, them. Pronouns we can say. Say them every day. That's a very good way to learn the words that replace a noun. Say them every day. And then I think there's a possessive verse. But for now, I'm just going to write them. Your, yours, our, ours. Oh, wait, no, that's not right. Hold on, let me erase that. It would just be our. I'm trying to write them in categories. So this would be my, mine, our, ours. This would be you, your, and yours. And actually we'll erase you. We don't need that one. Your and yours. And then it would be theirs, his, hers, its, with no apostrophe. Okay, so this is your crash course. All those times you had to learn this and you didn't think it was useful, well, we're going to use it the next couple weeks, and it's going to be very important. So this column would be first person. That means you are the main actor. This category would be second person, and this column would be third person. This giant block here would be subjective, and this sub-block right here, this would be singular, and these would be subjective plural. Now, here, this giant block would be objective, and the sub-block would be objective singular and objective plural. And then here we have possessive case. So these are all your cases: subjective, objective, possessive case. And then again, you have singular, plural for these two. And then theirs should have been on the bottom. Whoop, that's plural. And these are all singular. Lovely, lovely job. So if you need to refresh, if you need to learn my song, go for it. If you need to make sure you have these memorized, memorize them, because it's important, so that when I say in the future, I will say, you're going to write an essay and you're not allowed to use second or third person. That's not this week, down the road. If you don't know your pronouns, you might say, what? I can't use first or second person in this essay. So this is just a little foreshadow for what's to come. But for now, these are the pronouns I want you to focus on in this essay, your first person pronouns. You're allowed to use second and third in this assignment, but I want a whole bunch of first person pronouns. So parents, teachers, if you are grading this assignment, I would give them a point for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, every one of these objectives. So if they get them all, they get a 7 out of 7. And you just take a point away for each one. You can weight it differently, of course. Weight it more heavily if you want by, giving it a percentage. And that concludes today's assignment. We will see you next week.